We hardly ever talk sports on this program, so you may be wondering why one of the country's leading sports journalists is in this seat. Well, it's also true that sports is big business. The big four North American sports alone, football, baseball, basketball, and hockey, have revenues of more than $30 billion a year. And after spending decades observing how the leagues do their thing, Bruce Dowbiggin thinks they could be doing it so much better, both for the pro leagues and, more importantly, for the fans. Those ideas and more can be found in Cap in Hand, How Salary Caps Are Killing Pro Sports and Why the Free Market Could Save Them. And Bruce Dowbiggin joins us now for more. Good to see you, my friend.
You notice how I got the big word count in the title, so I had less to do inside?
It's all there.
The publisher wants a word count. I gave it them all.
It's all there in the title.
Yeah.
I want to start with one of what I think is one of the truisms in sports today.
Right.
That if you're going to have a competitive, well-balanced league, you have to have a salary cap. In other words, a ceiling on what teams are allowed to spend. Right. Otherwise, if you don't have that in place, all the rich teams in the rich cities are going to dramatically outspend the poor teams in the poor cities, and, you know, the poor teams would never have a chance at winning. How true is that? It's
true in North America. At least that's what we were sold. The reason we had lockouts and strikes, we missed a whole NHL season, we missed a half an NFL season, we missed a World Series once, it's because owners were telling us that. We need a socialist system so everybody can share the wealth. And in theory, it works. Yeah, just have to think about it. It works pretty well in theory. The problem is when the law of unintended consequences kicks in. And a great example was, I think a couple of weeks ago, I was watching the Blue Jays playing the Orioles. And neither team was really trying to win. I mean, both teams, the players were trying to win. They were still at it. But the organizations have basically said, we're selling off our stars. We're going to lose for a couple of years. We're not going to be competitive. Oh, by the way, the ticket prices stay the same. And your Rogers Sportsnet subscription stays the same. And I thought, this isn't what it was supposed to be. And it's not just those two teams. In every league, they do what's called tanking, which is deliberately trying to lose so they can get a better draft pick. And I thought, this isn't what we signed up for with these strikes and lockouts. Isn't there a better model? And so I went looking for a better model.
Well, I'm going to push on this a bit because, again, the New York Rangers, a franchise worth $1 billion, if the New York Rangers are allowed to spend whatever they want to attract the best players, and the Winnipeg Jets or the Edmonton Oilers, which are in small markets and cannot charge $500 a piece for tickets, how are they supposed to compete?
Well, you see,
if you don't have a salary cap.
Well, here's where the business comes in. When you and I were starting out in broadcasting, the franchise method was everything. It was Oprah. You get a franchise, and you get a franchise. It was like KFC. Everybody had a KFC. And that's how they were going to build the leagues. You'd get regional markets, you get regional TV and all that sort of stuff. And everyone would be able to compete. But something has changed in the sports market, and it's globalization once again. Globalization in the sports industry has ruined the model for everybody has a chance to win. And when I say that, I mean I talk about the European soccer leagues. They do not bother with worrying about a small market winning the title. They have concentrated the best players on the best teams. They've created formats like the World Cup, the European Cup, the Champions Cup. Then they broadcast them here into North America. 20 years ago, you never saw kids walking around wearing soccer jerseys in Toronto and in Ontario. All of a sudden, there's guys wearing Pogba jerseys, they're wearing Messi jerseys, they're wearing Cristiano Ronaldo jerseys. Why? Because these are guys that are global TV stars. And the soccer people have understood that the new model is excellence. It's creating stars, creating star teams, creating star events that you can sell through TV. So, in other words, the franchise model of Calgary playing Columbus on a cold Tuesday night in February is out the window. It's now, we want to see something great tonight.
Okay, having said that, the Canadian Football League has a salary cap, the National Hockey League has a salary cap, the National Basketball Association has a salary cap, the National Football League has a salary cap, pro baseball, Major League Baseball does not.
Well, they have something called a luxury tax, which is if you go over a certain amount in your payroll, you will pay a tax, and it's pretty punitive. So it is a drag on salaries too. Just as a side thing, one of the reasons we lost these fans lost these seasons to lockouts was because the owner said, no, luxury tax won't work. We have to have a salary cap. But what I show in Cap in Hand is that the distribution of titles, Major League Baseball versus the others, is the same between small and large markets. In other words, we didn't need a salary cap. We didn't need to lock out. The luxury tax can work as well as a salary cap if that's what you want. So we were sold a bill of goods by the owners.
Okay, let's talk about one of the ways in which professional sports leagues in North America try to help the worst teams at the expense of the best teams. And one of the ways is what they call the pro draft, meaning every year the college or minor league players are drafted by the teams, and the team that is the worst drafts the highest, and the team, obviously, that won the championship the year before drafts last. What do you think of that system as a way of equalizing the talent and helping the worst teams get better?
Well, as we've seen with the Edmonton Oilers, I think they've had 4 #1 overall draft choices in the last decade, and they still stink. So the theory sounds great once again, but the practice doesn't work. And one of the things I say is as a problem with the business, just imagine in broadcasting, you're the worst broadcaster in Toronto, nobody's watching you, and at the end of the year they say, boy, you were terrible, you ran your business badly. Oh, by the way, we're going to give you the biggest star new star for TV to come onto your show.
It's very egalitarian.
It's egalitarian, but what it does is it perpetuates mediocrity. It encourages people to tank. It encourages people to not try to make a better business model.
Stop there for a second. It encourages teams to tank because the worse they do, the higher they'll pick in the draft. Theory, and therefore, you could make the argument that the Leafs at one point were awful, not just because they were awful, but they were awful because they wanted to
deliberately trying to be
so
awful.
They could get Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us the story. I want to go back, gosh, I don't know how long it is now. It might be 30 years or 25 years. When a guy named Eric Lindros from this community decided that even though he was the first overall draft pick and he wanted to be, Quebec Nordiques picked him, he wouldn't go. What did that do to hockey?
Well, in the short term, it was a bit of a shock that the #1 star wouldn't play by the rules. And that bothered everybody. He wasn't playing by the rules. And under the rules of the time, the franchise model, I think, still kind of worked. You could still have teams in Quebec City and Winnipeg. But that's all changed. And what Eric was saying is, I've got to go to a place where I can maximize not only my salary, but my ability to be visible on winning teams. And I need to go to big markets to maximize my brand. Because, of course, it's all becoming about branding. And he was one of the first athletes, certainly in hockey, to tell them, you know what, all this stuff about being ever so humble and, like Gordie Howe kicking the can down the road, it's just the other guys. Eric was telling what the reality is of the sports business today, which is that these guys are branded. These guys take their brand wherever they go. Perfect example, of course, in basketball, LeBron James. He goes somewhere, he gets a couple of his friends to join him, he wins the title. That's the future of sports, and Lindros was hinting at that, and the hockey people hated it. Because here's the thing, Steve, the sports owners, in particular the hockey ones who I've written about for 25 years, they talk like capitalists, but they're socialists. They want to be socialists, and they want the government to help them do it, and they want the courts to support them in doing it, and finally they want the cooperation of the sports unions in doing it. So instead of the brave talk about eating what you kill and all that sort of stuff, you get this socialized notion of mediocrity where it's all spread out over everybody. And all I'm saying as a sports fan in particular is, why don't we want the best product? Why don't we want the best product globally? The fact that the Olympics, the NHL people didn't go to the Olympics, an enormous loss for the business, because that's where the future is.
Here's the line actually in your book. I'm going to do a little excerpt from the book right here. Sheldon, top of page 3, if you would. For a hyper-capitalist country like the United States, the professional sports leagues are deeply socialist. Revenue is you're laughing at your own work. Good for you.
I love this stuff.
Revenue is shared among teams and pay is capped. The worst teams are awarded with the more resources, i.e. draft picks, based on the idea that the best teams and the worst teams should not be too different in quality. It begins to look more like a Soviet-style organization than a real business. You call it Soviet-style, but don't fans want to see, as egalitarian, a chance? Don't they want to see everybody on opening day having a chance to win?
You know, fans say one thing and they mean another. They say, yeah, we want egalitarian, we want parity, we want everyone to have a shot at it. They talk that way, but then you and I will sit down and talk about, what do we talk about? We talk about the great Montreal Canadiens teams, the great Yankee teams, the great Boston Bruins teams, the great New England Patriot teams now. We talk about parity, but we want excellence. We want the best. We want to see the best. And so there is a kind of a, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing with sports fans. I don't believe them when they say they want parity, only so far as it affects their own particular team. The rest of the parity, forget it. We want to win, or else we want to see the best. And it's one of the, again, I get back to the NBA analogy. It's one of the reasons that with Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, and with LeBron and wherever he's playing, people are turning on the TV to watch them, even if they have no rooting interest, because they're a fascinating story. And your generation and mine, we were more about parity. We were more about sharing. I mean, that was a kind of a Canadian notion, even in America. But the newer generation is not about that. They want to see superstars. They want to see the people who you want to buy the tickets for and who you want to turn on the TV for.
Ironically, you say socialist Europe is more capitalistic than capitalistic North America.
It's amazing. Because if you want to afford a guy, if you want to buy Cristiano Ronaldo, and of course he changed teams this year, if you want to pay the freight for what he costs, they let you do that. They let you build great teams. And once in a while, it's sort of an unknown team slips through in soccer. And Leicester City was a famous example a couple of years ago. They slipped through. And so it kind of defeats the argument that it's always just the top people. But here's another thing, Steve, is, again, people say, we don't want the same teams winning all the time. Well, in soccer, they don't seem to mind. And even look at the example in the United States, and when I do my American interviews, I talk about this. Look at the NCAA. Every year, the football, Ohio State, Alabama, best football teams, Kansas, Duke, best basketball teams. Nobody's upset about it. The sponsors love it. The TV ratings are fantastic. The fans love it. So it shows me that people, in fact, really do like excellence, and they're not bothered by good teams winning all the time if the thing is set up and they know the expectations.
And every now and then a Gonzaga slips in there and makes everybody excited.
Bing Crosby's alma mater.
There you go. Let me give you a basic layout of how North American and European soccer are different, and then you tell me what you would want to do about it.
Yeah.
For example, over here we have a regular season. The best teams make the playoffs. They have lengthy, in the case of the NHL, a 2-month-long playoff season, and then whoever wins at the end is hoisting the Stanley Cup or whatever. In Europe, I learned in your book, I didn't know this, there are no playoffs.
No.
They just have the regular season. And whoever's the best at the end of the regular season is the champ.
And at the end of the season, if you're at the bottom of the pool, you get relegated to the second division.
Okay, hold off on that. I'm going to come to relegation in a second.
Okay.
But why, I mean, the playoffs, the postseason is so ingrained in our culture where even the casual fan suddenly tunes in. Can you imagine us getting rid of that?
Well, the soccer people don't have a playoffs in their own league, but what they've done, and I mentioned this earlier, is they've created these spectacles, the Cup Winners' Cup, the Europa Cup. They have all of these super leagues that are going on at the same time as the regular season is going on. So the whole time the regular season is going on, we have the equivalent of playoffs going on as teams, an English team will go and play in Russia, they'll play in Spain, and vice versa. So they have a number of these things going on at the same time. So they believe in a playoff format. They believe in what we believe in. They just don't wait till the end of the year to give it to us. And what I'm saying in the book is we have tons of inventory of meaningless games from October to April, and then we finally get to the meat of it. Let's figure out a way, the way the soccer people do, to have other competitions going on at the same time so it means something. And that means, well, we're going to get to, I guess, to my argument about how to restructure.
Sure, let's go there right now, because obviously we're in hockey season now. Let's take hockey. In hockey, what are there, 31 teams?
There'll be 32 when they give Seattle a franchise.
32 when Seattle comes in. Okay, so, and everybody's in the same league. Everybody plays everybody. Everybody's, the top, whatever it is, 16 get a chance to fight for the Stanley Cup, etc. You say in Europe, if you're one of the worst teams in the best league, you're out? You're
relegated. There's no first-round draft pick. There's no reward for failure in soccer. You get relegated, and a team in the second division gets promoted. And here's why this thing works as an economic model, Steve. I live in Calgary, as you well know, and we have a situation where the NHL has come in and told us that if we don't build a certain style of arena at a certain cost, that they're going to take our franchise away. I mean, I'm cutting a few corners on the story, but that's basically what Gary Bettman
That's what Bettman said to Calgary.
That's what Gary Bettman is saying. And here's my suggestion, which is that people play at the level they can afford. So like soccer, I would say have 48 teams in the NHL. Give Southern Ontario another team. Give Quebec City back their team. 48 teams, divide them into 2 divisions. Play at the level you can afford. And here's why it works, because a Calgary market will not have to build an enormous arena to compete with New York and Los Angeles. They won't need to do that. They'll be able to build a smaller, more affordable one for their market. Second, the fans won't be paying $350 a ticket in Winnipeg to see a game. I mean, Winnipeg paying $300 a ticket, that market, it's absurd.
But is it still NHL if you're playing in the second division?
Well, here's what happens is that the second division is where you develop the young stars. That's where Connor McDavid starts. It's a hybrid of junior hockey and sort of a stepping stone to the top. That's what soccer does. And they place the younger players there. And if you're in a Calgary or a Winnipeg, you're going to have a bunch of young players that you've developed, you've found and developed and brought in, and you're going to watch them for a couple of years. And then when they reach their peak, either your owner pays the money to keep you up with the big markets, or you sell them up the line for an enormous profit, and then you put that back into your franchise in your city.
Here's the hole in the argument.
Right.
What happens when the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Chicago Blackhawks, excuse me, or the New York Rangers, one of those really rich teams, has an off year and they get relegated to the B pool.
It's happened in soccer a bunch of times. Great franchises, great franchises from the 80s and people that I followed for a lot of time. Nottingham Forest, I could give you a list of them. They've been relegated. And what it is the shot in the shorts to say, hey, you're not running your business properly. For a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, I'd be frustrated because we've never been able to use our economic advantage to build the kind of team this market should sustain. And if you, as we saw when they had unlimited free agents in the NHL, having a lot of money didn't always guarantee you a title. So I would think that the best remedy, sending people back to the second division, is, okay, go get your act together and figure it out. Think at the end of the season, Steve, instead of a month of meaningless games in baseball or hockey, whatever it is, where the teams are just going to the end to get a draft pick, all of a sudden you've got the Toronto Maple Leafs going, or the Ottawa Senators going, we're going to go to the second division. The compelling TV that it would be, and because that's what it is in soccer. So I'm just saying that we want to have better games, we want to have incentives for teams to play a full season, and we want incentives for management to do a better job when they organize their teams.
What you are arguing for here, though, is a radical rethink of how pro sports
free market, as I say on the cover of the book.
Well, yes, indeed.
Yes.
It is well known that the people who own these teams are some of the most conservative people around, and they kind of like things the way they are because it's working for them the way it is. Can you imagine your system being adopted in North American pro sports?
Glad you asked me. One of the problems that we've got, of course, salary caps are sold to everybody. We've discussed the values and how it was sold to us. The problem is, in 2 years, the NHL is going to lock its players out again.
How do you know?
Gary Bettman's already basically set the wheels in motion. The Players Association is telling all the players, get ready to expect another lockout. Same thing's going to happen in baseball. Same thing's going to happen in basketball.
Over what?
It's going to be they want to refine the salary cap even more. It's not perfect for the owners, so now they want to go back to, for instance, guaranteed contracts that the players have within the salary cap. They're going to try and get rid of that. So there's all these things they're going to refine. And my suggestion is that when they try to do that, and it's 2 to 3 years, and all the leagues are going to at least threaten to do it, if not do it. I see the fans going, I've had it with this. I'm not giving up any more of my watching. I'm not going to support these people anymore. And that's, to me, when you're going to have people say, okay, we've got to rethink this. We've got to do this in a different way that works.
So there's an opening, you think, when that Armageddon happens. There's an opening for radically rethinking how things work. Yeah.
And the other opportunity is, and as conservative as the owners are, when you finally convince them that they can make even more money by going with a global product than with, doing something locally or within North America, I think you'll see them sort of go to the soccer people didn't want to do this either. They were all very reluctantly dragged into it. Now there's so much money at the top level of soccer, Steve, it's just incredible how much the players get paid a ton, but how much money comes in from TV. And now we also have gambling coming into it, legalized gambling in the United States, et cetera. So much money coming in. I think the owners will see the value in maybe understanding that it's not just North America, it's the world that they're playing to.
Okay, let's finish up on this. You live in Calgary now, but you used to live in Toronto. Did you like living in Toronto?
Sure.
Did you like Toronto?
For the time I was here, sure.
Because I'm just wondering why you hate Toronto so much now.
I hate the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Hang on, no. You didn't talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. You talked about Toronto in the book. Yes. I read the book.
Yes.
Here's the joke you tell in the book. How many Torontonians does it take to screw in a light bulb? Answer, 1. They just hold the bulb while the world turns around them. Har, har, hardy, har.
It's a good joke.
It's not a bad joke. It's not a bad joke.
If you live in Toronto, it's not a good joke.
Listen, I'm a Hamiltonian, so I probably told that joke numerous times as a kid.
To the rest of us in Canada, Toronto has a particular attitude about themselves. But what I'm saying in the book is, in spite of all of these little snide barbs, is that I feel like Toronto should be able to, as I say, eat what it kills. It should be able, with the marketability that it has, to do better and to get more. One of the suggestions that I've made, I think the Stanley Cup final this year could be Winnipeg versus Toronto. And it's because of salary caps that the Leafs have got a good chance of being in the final. People go, what do you mean salary caps? The thing with the Leafs is their talent is young. It's not all, the salary cap is not all concentrated in just a few players. You look at a veteran team like Pittsburgh, 4 or 5 guys have most of the salary cap. The Maple Leafs, they have flexibility. So do the Winnipeg Jets. Both good young teams, and they have a little bit of money left over that if they need to buy somebody coming down the stretch. So I think if the Toronto Maple Leafs are healthy, you can see them playing Winnipeg in the Stanley Cup final.
From your lips to God's ears.
I know. And for me to say that the Leafs in the Stanley Cup final,
I know, it's tough.
Hard.
That's hard.
It's hard.
Well, if you want a radical rethink on how professional sports does its thing, it's all in Cap in Hand, how salary caps are killing pro sports and why the free market could save them. from the well-known non-socialist, Bruce Dowbiggin. Nice to have the Chinook blow you into our studio tonight, Bruce. Great to see you again.
It was nice to be here. Yeah, it's already cold out west.
The Agenda with Steve Bacon is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.